Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to languages for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Dent, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I'm your keeper, Michael, and we return to Masks of Nyarlathotep in our transitional phase as we are continuing our adventures and investigations in France. And so we have a lot to get to tonight and a lot to figure out. To that end, we will get to our introductions. So, to my right.
This is Tiffany, and I play Maeve O'Shea, and she's angry.
You're like the goth kid in class that is kind of pensive and pent up in the corner and desperate for lunch recess so you can go out and smoke.
Well, that, and I'm looking at people like I wish a motherfucker would.
To Miss O'Shea's right.
I'm Morgan. I play Lillian Lane, and I'm tired.
You have been taking care of Jack. You've been worried about him. You met a friend at the hospital.
A very handsome friend.
Maybe more on that later. So at the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'm playing Jack Doyle, and I'm healing.
You are under the medical care of your nearby doctor, who is to your right.
Oh, it's not me. Okay.
No, you offer him a different kind of healing, right?
This is James. I'll be playing Dr. Sigmund Tartenbach, and he does not administer the berry white healing. Thank you.
Last but most certainly not least.
This is Alex. I'll be playing Saint-Penon, and I am going to moonlight as an academic.
So we're going to raise the curtain tonight on our investigators in Paris, and it's the morning. So we've all had a very long night, some of us a little longer than others. Jack, in your recovery bed in the morning, the doctor is just changing your bandages, having absconded from the hospital, and in hoping to continue to recover along the way. You feel a little bit better than you did last night, but doctor, you are seeing that while Jack is healing well, you're still a little concerned about any sort of long-term physical movement from him. I mean, a direct rifle shot like he took quite frankly, it's amazing he's alive.
Yeah.
But you're definitely going to need to go over him this morning.
You stop fussing. I have to change these.
All right, fine. Just make it quick.
All right.
How's everybody doing?
Well, it has been an interesting night.
Interesting?
Yeah. Perhaps it is best for you to hear from the mouth of the horse, yeah?
Okay.
Good. Here, now that you... this is going to hurt, I'm not going to lie. I tighten up one of the bandages.
I'm singing my morning devotional.
Probably best for you to go speak to Maeve personally, yeah. Come back for me when you are done. You will understand.
It sounds ominous.
Could you have Maeve come in here?
Oh, yeah, I suppose that makes more sense, yeah? Get up, walk over.
There's a knock on your door, but it's so faint in the back of your mind that it becomes almost imperceptible, Miss O'Shea.
I ignore it until I'm done.
Okay. You can hear her doctor singing. You don't recognize the words. They're not English. You know Miss O'Shea, obviously, from her namesake, is likely Irish. And you've heard the Irish tongue. Maybe it's Gaelic? Maybe it's... After a couple of other knocks with no answer, the singing dims a bit. And Miss O'Shea become a little bit more aware that there have been other sounds at your door. And you get almost reflexively guarded.
I will make sure that I am dressed. Go to the door.
Okay.
Guten Morgen.
Uh-huh.
Jack is awake and would like to talk to you.
Okay. I will collect what I have left, because I'm not leaving anything anywhere. And hope for a moment of clarity from you-know-who, and head to Jack's room.
As you step out into the hallway and into Jack's room, there's almost this feeling like something, like a coat or a cloak has been put over your shoulders. You feel almost this, it's hard to say. It's almost like an imperial sort of presence that seems to wrap around you. You get this massive surge of confidence.
All right.
Mr. Doyle, to his credit, is laying there in his bed. He looks like he's been freshly bandaged. He's probably shirtless and wearing his either night pants or I would imagine probably wearing pajama pants at the very least. And he's laying, I imagine, up in bed or maybe sitting.
Yeah, probably up,
Sitting
up in bed against the pillows.
Yeah, Mr. Shea walks in. She's wearing a robe.
And they all share a room, correct?
Well, the doctor and Mr. Doyle do. Sam has his own room, and then you and Lillian have yours. So, Lillian, you as well, given even though you had a long night, you probably would be faintly aware as you're waking up that someone was singing, probably Maeve. It was a little unintelligible, but then again, you were asleep, so you're kind of waking in this state to it, and you'd probably come aware fully as the door shuts to your room.
I'm assuming I came back into the room late
Very.
To make sure Jack actually went to sleep and didn't try to get up out of bed.
Well, there is a bar downstairs, so it's altogether possible he may have tried to
True. Crawl down the stairs.
But yeah, so you're awake, and then clearly Sam too, given all of the movement going on between rooms and stuff like that, especially in your local vicinity. It's not unlikely that you would also be waking at this point.
Sure.
How are you feeling?
I felt better, but I'm doing okay.
Good.
The doctor said that I should talk to you. Something interesting
The
happened.
doctor is lightly tidying up the room, putting things away.
I was cornered last night and relieved of all of my belongings.
By who?
Sam.
Wait. Start over. Start this from the beginning.
You were in the hospital. Lillian and the doctor were with you. I was here in my room. Sam felt the need to come in and tell me that I was keeping things from you, not allowing you to have access to the information. He needed to make sure that it was available to everybody. Accused me of all sorts of insane things. Said that it was presumptuous of me to protect you against things that I have seen affect you guys negatively. I have seen what happened to Lillian with whatever she got out of the trunk because she said she went to put something away or something, and she was negatively affected. I know that the books have had a negative effect on other people, and it seems like I have been the one that's been able to read and understand, and I have not held back any information from any of you, and you know that. Basically, he thinks that I am hiding things, and my intention is harm. And he came in, and we argued a lot, and he took my entire trunk.
Forgive me for asking, but did you do anything?
Did I do anything?
In retaliation or to provoke him?
Nope. He just came to my room
I see.
while I was alone. I think it was a tactical move that none of you were here, so that I could not defend myself, because you know as well as I do, I am not going to use any of my abilities or anything against any of you. That was not my intention with getting these abilities, it was to go after what we're going after. It's to combat the things that we don't understand. It's not for me to harm any of us or anybody that has good intentions. If it's somebody that's lost all reasonability, like when we were at the Miser house, to me that's a different situation.
All right.
But you can talk to him and hear his side and decide if somebody who was just Simone, not even a month ago, should be looking at things like that.
Okay, we'll deal with this. Where's my robe?
Hand the robe to Jack.
You gingerly tuck yourself into the robe, and literally anytime you move your pectoral muscles, as you kind of shift one arm into the other, there's quite a bit of strain there from your body. You have healed two more hit points.
Ooh.
Under doctoral care.
Oh, yeah.
So you're feeling spry now.
Yep.
I will
Kick
go
the
back
shit
to
out
my
of
room.
somebody.
Okay, you
With
head
my
back.
confidence, shoulders back, head
Yeah,
up.
yeah. You play the role of the snake and woman scorned very well, and you probably walk back into your room to find, I would imagine, Miss Lane waking up in some regard.
Yeah, I'm probably still pretty disheveled because I didn't bathe after we came back from the hospital.
Yeah, it's okay.
So,
Do you want
Yeah.
me to order us breakfast?
When she walks back in and you see her like in the sun that's provided through the nearby window, she's like red faced. Like obviously she's a bit flush. Her eyes are golden. Just for a moment, like when she walks in and looks at you and begins to ask about breakfast, like you get this flash of golden yellow in her eyes. And maybe it's the light. Maybe that's what it is because the sun's shining right through there. For probably half a heartbeat, Miss Lane sees something that she's confused about.
do I notice that she's like flushed and upset about something?
She is, but she's also in the same clothes she was in last night.
I just kind of look at her. Breakfast would be great. I could use some coffee. Perhaps we should get Jack and the doctor something.
Jack's busy.
Maybe some coffee.
I'll go down and talk to him and see if we can get some food up.
Are everything okay?
It will be.
Do you want to talk about it?
Maybe in a little bit.
Okay. Well, while you're getting something, I'm probably still in some blood. I probably still have some stuff going on.
You did the best you
Like,
could to clean it out of your hair at the
yeah.
moment, but you would be able to tell that Lillian has not yet recovered visually from the events in the sewers yesterday.
Well, I'll go order us breakfast. Why don't you take a hot bath?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Thank you.
I'll head down and start ordering breakfast for our rooms.
No, the wait staff is actually. You wouldn't even have to head downstairs. You could simply go to the larger portion here in the room and pick up the phone receiver and order it.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to. You could, of course, clearly go downstairs if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'll give her some privacy. I'll go downstairs.
Jack, you arrive at Sam's store.
First, I reach into my nightstand and pull out my gun and slip it into my robe pocket, because you never know.
Okay. So after arming yourself, you go knock on Sam's door.
I am shaving. I will stop for a moment. Mr. Doyle, please. The bed is empty. Have a seat.
No, I won't be very long.
Oh, okay. Look,
I spoke to Miss O'Shea.
I go back to shaving.
You'd return her items to her. They weren't yours to take.
They aren't hers to keep, Mr. Doyle.
They're not yours to take.
I'm not taking them. They are there. They're right there. I will gesture to the trunk.
Return them to their room. I don't want to hear about you cornering somebody in private again. You are way off of base right now. You're treading on thin ice.
Is that so?
Yes.
I turn to him. You have no idea why I went to her.
I don't care why you went to her. As far as I'm concerned, you took advantage of a situation to bully her, to take what you wanted.
Is that what she told you?
That's how I read it. You waited till everybody was gone, preoccupied, which I'll point out was also your doing. I don't want to hear about this again, because I trust her with my life way more than I trust you, and you are far, far from stable enough to be handling any of this. Sam.
You're not qualified to make that assessment, Mr. Doyle.
Or Simone.
My name is Sam.
Or whatever your name
Say it.
is today.
My name is Sam. Simone is dead. He will remain dead.
Well, let's just leave it at this. If you continue to try to throw your weight around and bully everyone into submission, Simone won't be the only one who's dead. I'm done. Return her stuff, and I don't want to have to talk about this again. And I'll leave and close the door.
I finished shaving.
Okay. Doctor, you hear Sam's door shut pretty hard. And Mr. Doyle walks back into the room. I would say walk is a very generous word.
Shuffle? Shuffle?
Zombie shuffle.
You slide back into the room, and you can tell something visually immediately. He needs to sit down because the rise and fall of his chest indicates that his blood pressure is rising.
Push the chair pretty much right up to the back of his legs. Sit down.
Thank you.
Pour him a small drink.
Morning scotch.
Morning scotch. Yeah.
Thank
Doctor's
you.
orders.
Miss O'Shea, you go downstairs and you order food. You make sure to order for likely the four of you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you're asking for specifically?
I'll have them send just a tray up to like Lily and I with like the croissants and the meat and the cheese and the...
Yeah, you get things ordered. While you're down there ordering, you can make me a spot hidden roll.
70 out of 75.
You notice in the morning light there a rather short man.
Okay.
He's nearby, probably 5 or 6 seats down. He's near a table, and there's very striking about him. Tucked under his arm is a cat. And the cat seems to continue to nibble and complain, like nibble at him. And he's doing his best with his left hand to keep a book hoisted up to him. He's reading something. But he isn't even really reading, per se, because his eyes aren't moving.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking at you.
I will let him, like, turn around and look at him.
Mm-hmm.
Let him know that I know that he's looking at
He
me.
locks eyes with you.
Your cat doesn't like you.
He smiles. He places the book on the table. Truly. Are you certain?
He's not acting like he really likes being held.
He pets the cat. The cat bites his other hand. It's after a minute or two of looking at it, though, you realize that the cat is not really angry. It seems to be a little bit more playful at this point, but it's still biting him. He's not reacting to it at all, though.
You know what? Do your thing.
I was hoping you could do me a favor.
What is that?
I was hoping you could let Miss Lane know that it's time to go.
Go where?
She told me you have a trip to take.
Yes.
He stands up from the table.
I'm walking towards him at this point.
He meets you halfway. I wouldn't say you tower over him, but you're probably a foot taller than he is.
Mm-hmm.
He stares up at you. Your Miss Lane and I are acquainted.
Mm-hmm.
She said you had a trip to go on, and she didn't give me particulars about when she was leaving. I was hoping she would leave soon because she has something very important to do. Yes?
Sure. But I don't know who you are and who you are to dictate when anybody leaves.
It's interesting you should say that. I've read a bit about you.
Read about me?
Indeed, it's in this book. Would you like to see it?
What book is that?
He turns it over to you. He turns the book over, not like for you to grab it or hold
Right.
it, but just so you can see it. And on the front of it, right, it says the Imperial Dynasty of America.
Mm-hmm.
Your name's in here.
Who are you?
Wild. He extends his left hand as his right is holding a cat.
No thanks.
Fair enough. It was offered in friendship once. You'll remember that.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't trust people And handshakes.
That's curious, as the handshake is traditionally a method of showing that you're not armed. That's why men shake hands.
Men shake hands.
Fair enough. Do you smell that?
Eggs?
No. It smells... I haven't smelled that since I was much younger. It's almost reptilian. You see him take an enormous breath in. Fascinating. He opens the book. He writes something in it, and then closes it. Now, I'm certain that Miss Lane knows that she's on a tight schedule. So, I look forward to seeing her when she returns home.
Oh, that's not going to be for a while.
Oh, I'm aware.
Okay.
Do give my regards.
Mm-hmm.
He nods and then seems to turn and kind of wander off outside of the hotel. He has a very strange gait. He walks almost as like someone who has had either some leg surgery. I don't know how much experience you might have with this person or those people who are listening. But if you've ever encountered somebody who has had like a fractured leg and has had to recover from the damage and the ligaments and everything, he looks like he has been damaged in some way.
Okay.
They bring your order on 2 massive platters.
I just asked for help bringing it up.
Oh, no.
Oh, they're
you
bringing
won't.
it
They're
up.
going to bring it up. You're not touching it. They will bring it up for you because it's room service.
Yeah. I'll head up then.
The group gets food on account of Maeve's handiwork. It is a mostly traditional French breakfast, but there's fare here really for everyone. So after you eat...
Lillian, do you know a short man with a cat?
I'm assuming I'm still in my robe at this point because Kim brings up food and we're eating or whatever.
Yeah.
I get this look on my face and I just kind of roll my eyes. Did you have an encounter with Mr. Wilde?
Yes, he wanted me to remind you of your tight schedule, said it was time to go, which I kindly told him to bugger off. And apparently his book has stuff about me in it.
You didn't look in the book, did you?
No, he didn't let me.
Okay, good. Don't look in the book. Just don't look in the book. It's not...
He's weird.
He is very...
How do you know him?
Actually met him on the boat when we were coming here from America, from New York. Side question. I do know that he met Forsyth, right?
You do. You
Okay.
are aware. In fact, he told you.
He was the last person to see Forsyth before he disappeared.
Correct.
So, okay.
And you were told in this hotel by him that Forsyth had done his job by protecting you, and that he intimated that might have been part of the reason he passed.
Well, I'm not going to give that in.
No, I know, but he told you that in
Right.
maybe not in directly way, but in some way
Right.
that he did his job.
He was the last person that Mr. Forsyth saw before he disappeared on the boat when he was gone for a while.
Well, had I known that, I would have punched him in the eye.
Mr. Wilde is very adamant about that I have a destiny and I need to follow it properly and that I need to do whatever the book says. And if you're in it, I would get him to try to tell you what's in it versus having you look in it.
Here's my thought on destiny per se. If you have a destiny to fill, then it shouldn't matter how long it takes you to leave here because you're still fulfilling your destiny by going on the current path that you're on, correct?
Right, if there's only one path.
So then he needs to quit pushing for your destiny and leave you the fuck alone because if it's destiny, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he was still here. Last time he came and saw me a couple nights ago when we were here after my incident in the bar and had a conversation with me.
Was he the one that suggested you go to that play?
He was, as a matter of fact. So,
Side note, did I get any kind of feeling off him besides, like, I don't trust him and he's creepy? Like, did
I think
that...
everybody gives you that feeling.
Well, that's true.
Okay, so
yeah, I have a feeling he's going to keep popping up and not leave us alone.
Well, so far, I would say I'm going to let him be because he's not doing any harm. But just so you know, if he crosses that line, he's going to be dealt with.
once breakfast is over, I guess I would want clarity on post-shaving Sam. how are you planning on spending the day and or your post situation?
Jack is in no condition to carry out his threat on my life, so my agenda hasn't necessarily changed. I am on a timeline, however, so it seems like if I want to continue on this journey with this troop, I'm going to have to submit to some degree or find a compromise. I am seeking to be agreeable after all. However, I had plans for today, and I'm not necessarily worried about Jack coming in here killing me, so I will lock my door. I will proceed with my plan of going through the box meticulously and inventorying the contents of it while kind of whistling to myself.
Okay.
So I'll get my catalog notes out and begin creating headings for all of the books with titles I can read. If I can't read them, I will simply replicate what's there. Try to determine what language it is, and then as far as the items go, I will describe them to the best of my ability. I probably don't know any of their names, so.
Okay, so I guess given that it is your chest, I guess what I'd like from you, Miss O'Shea, is to give me a rough idea, mundania, what is in there as far as mundane items, because he will see those as well.
All of my clothes, my different shoes, my hair items.
The Thompson's in there.
Yeah, all the guns are in the bottom.
Well, specifically the Thompson.
Yeah. Let's see, what else did I have? Probably lots of papers with a pen and ink.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she traveled light to begin with, but that's the mundane items.
Okay, and so what, of the books that you have, we know what is not in there.
Mm-hmm.
What is in there?
Because I didn't say before, but I probably would have kept this book, but I didn't say it. So the Noctic scripts are in there.
Yep.
Life is a God. Africa's Dark Sex. Oh, the scroll that was in Arabic is in there.
The scroll that was in hieroglyphics.
Oh, right.
It's in hieroglyphics. It's not in Arabic.
There was something else that was in Arabic, though, too.
Yeah, there's likely some other scrolls that are in Arabic, but the one you're talking about or thinking about is written in hieroglyphics.
Okay.
And then as far as actual items, like artifact items, masks, etc.
Most of that got sent back.
Sure. But not all.
No, there were definitely things that got left behind.
The Marine, we had the two.
Yes, the 2 marine chronometers are in there.
There's a bowl.
Yep. You kept the 4-headed mask, right?
Yeah.
So there is a headdress in there that has 4 masks attached to it, and there's like a strap to wear it.
Yeah, and then I have my stuff in my bag, which is
Talking about the powder blood stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Powder blood stuff
Flowers,
is with you.
All that.
The Book of Ibon is with you. Swift's journal is with you.
Mm-hmm.
The scepters are with you because they're in your robe,
Mm-hmm.
and then the knife on your thigh.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing.
That's different. We'll talk about that later. Maybe not. Okay, so yeah, there are a bevy of items between books and likely a lot of maybe working notes are in there too. Just on some of that paper, you would get some of those, which some of it is probably scribbles of her trying to decipher stuff.
Sure.
There are some artifact items or things that you're just not sure what it does. You have no idea what this bowl does. That's strange. It's a bowl. The chronometers are interesting, especially because they're a technical object, and you knew that Forsyth was interested. He brought one with him. You found one amongst his things. Yeah,
was it me and the doctor that figured out what they do? Or that they were all set at the same time?
Well, I mean, you can visually see that they're set at the same time. I think that's kind of what I'm getting to is Sam, is that they are set at the exact same time, and you know for a fact one was found in New York and one was found in London. Mm-hmm. And that they are literally completely and utterly in sync.
Each little mechanical marvels then.
My original ritual knife is in there.
Yes, so you would find a ritual dagger in there as well.
Oh, and then my letter from Dr. Pierce.
Yep.
I think I have a letter from Mr. Cross. And then I have my mother's letters about her stay.
Yeah, so you'd find some, letters from home and stuff like that and how her mother is. You'd find a letter from someone named Christopher, because he wouldn't sign his last name because it was a personal letter.
Right.
There is some rather, I don't know how I would put this, Sam. There is some rather flowery language in it.
Mm-hmm.
he has a definite desire for Maeve to return to Arkham and to live with him.
Interesting.
My father's journals are in there too.
Yep. So there's other wizard journals, I guess you would probably consider them. Other practitioners' journals.
I'm calling them warlocks in my head right now.
I'm just going over my notes just so you have a list of what's in there.
So because I know that the personal effects are going to definitely go back first, I read those.
Okay. Yeah, we can get you the gist of those letters.
I kind of methodically return all of what I consider to be Miss O'Shea's personal possessions to that box. To Thompson, I don't really concern myself with too much. I mean, make sure it's clean and that it'll fire. I think it's not too mucky.
Yeah, it looks like Jack had put it away clean. Not surprising given he's a soldier.
Sure. And I put all her objects in it, and then once I'm kind of done rifling through her stuff, I put it back in the box and I get back to my inventory.
Okay. Yeah, clearly hours worth of stuff to do.
Sure.
So we'll leave you to catalog. So breakfast ends for the rest of the investigators, and as it does, you have some decisions to make. So I guess what I want to know from the group at large is, does the group plan on waiting a few more days here at the hotel for Jack to heal up before you decide when to get going?
I think it would be a good idea, considering we're going to be on a bumpy train.
No, honestly, I think we should go as soon as possible.
It's time. But we were in the paper the other day due to Jack's shenanigans at the pier.
You mean saving us and getting us through customs?
Yes, punching the police officer.
So you would know, given the fact that you have the Orient Express schedule, that the Orient Express leaves Paris bound for Lausanne, you would know that it leaves late. So it's going to leave around, I think, 10:30, 11 it leaves. So it's an evening ride, and it's several hours before you get to Lausanne. You arrive early in the morning, about 6 a.m., into that kind of beautiful Swiss city that sits on Lake Geneva.
I think an evening ride would be perfect.
If it were any other train in the world, I would say no. But considering this one, I say we will be fine.
It should be pretty smooth.
I would like to know where my stuff is before we leave.
We
Yes.
will get that sorted out before we go.
You do need some other clothes.
He has not returned that to you? I told him to return that to you.
Game time wise, it's been like an hour.
All right.
It's still been an hour.
And yeah, it has not been returned as of yet.
Yes, I do need other clothes, and I have some, but not with me.
Is it in the trunk?
Yes.
So the train leaves at 11 o'clock tonight. My suggestion is that we are on it. Jack can rest on the train.
Yes. And if we get to Lausanne, we can,
get a room.
spend a couple
Still
days
nice.
there if we really
Right.
want to.
You just want easier access to whiskey, but it's okay, I understand.
So, obviously, I noticed that Sam is not here. Should we talk to him about this?
You can, I'll be in my room. And I get up and
We'll inform Sam that we're leaving tonight.
So, obviously, I don't know anything that has
Right.
gone on.
You're fairly perceptive though, Miss Lane.
Right,
As
I
soon
can
as you bring her,
feel-
as soon as you bring Sam up, she gets up and leaves the room.
I can feel the anger. Like, it's seething off of Maeve.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of look at the doctor and Jack, and I'm like, "Whoa, what happened? Somebody?"
There was an incident between Maeve and Sam.
Which was? Do you want to give me the quick and dirty?
Apparently, while we were at the hospital, Sam confronted Maeve about some of the possessions she has and stuff, and then forcibly took him from her. In fact, took everything from her.
Like her clothes?
Everything.
Who, did you go talk to him?
Oh, yes. And he was supposed to return it.
And he hasn't?
Not yet. It's been like an hour and a half, but
Well, how hard is it to drag a trunk down the hallway
That's
and
pretty-
put it in? Okay. All right, well, I will go speak with him.
Okay, you exit out of the gentleman's room and walk down the hall. Yeah, you walk down the hallway.
I firmly knock on Sam's door.
I sigh. Who's there?
It's Lillian.
I kind of chuckle to myself, stand up, go over to the door, unlock it, open it, stand there. Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Can I see into his room at all? Are you standing like in the doorway where I can't see anything?
I'm not like blocking it necessarily. I'm holding the door. Like, it's open. It's wide open. Like, I'm standing in the doorway, but it's like arms open. Not like hiding behind the door. If you're looking for the trunk, it's like right behind me.
Yeah. Is everything still out of the trunk?
The items and the books would be still, yeah.
So I heard you had a conversation with Jack this morning?
We could call it that.
Was it more of...
He threatened my life.
It's Jack.
Sure.
I'm sure he's threatened my life at some point, too.
Is there something I can help you with, Miss Lane?
Yes. I kind of like brushed past him into his room.
No, you don't.
Whoa.
No, you don't brush past me.
Okay, so you step forward.
You bump into
Yeah.
me.
Right. And he steps in your way.
Okay, listen. Maeve has no clothes. Jack told you to give the trunk back. I expect that to be back in her room in the next 15 minutes.
I look at my watch.
Do you think you can handle that?
So you came here to also tell me what I needed to do and when I needed to do it.
Yeah, but I'm not threatening your life.
What you're doing is almost worse. You're chastising me.
You're acting like a child. You took somebody's things out of their room.
That's a story. That's a version of those events, sure.
You guys had an argument, correct?
Again, that's a version of the events that transpired.
Okay. You are both adults in some way, shape, or form. She needs her things. We are leaving tonight out of France on the Orient Express because we have to get out of town.
I have no intention of keeping her things.
If you want to end up in a French prison, you can by all means stay in France. However, we are on the Orient Express tonight. She needs her things back in 15 minutes so she can get dressed and we can start working on leaving this place.
I will reach behind me, grab the trunk, spin, and pop it right up to her hip.
He spins and in a rather smooth motion picks up the trunk behind him and places it, kind of interdicts like any attempt at you to get further into the room with the trunk.
It's fine.
You can have it now. I drop it.
And I'm not going to proceed to go through it because I know what happened to me last time. So,
Sure.
if there is anything else of hers that is missing out of the trunk, I expect that to be given back to Maeve post-haste.
I suppose we can have a discussion about what is hers and what is not.
Well, it's
But I don't
not
think you want to have that
yours.
conversation now in the hallway. No, it's
Well,
not
we're not
mine.
going to have that conversation now because I don't have time for that conversation.
I've never laid claim to it, Mrs. Lane. Is there anything else I can do for you?
If you're going to be part of this team, you need to be part of this team. This isn't the Sam and everybody else's investigator show. This is the we're a team.
This is the you are currently a puppet on a string, Miss Lane, and I pity you. Please take this trunk.
I kind of narrow my eyes at him and I'm like,
Yes, you're all being played, but I can't get into that right now. You need to go.
I just pick up the trunk and I drag it behind me.
The mask and the bowl are in there.
Understood.
And all the clothes are in there. I'm assuming you threw those back in.
Yes, as stated, he returned her personal items, and then the bowl and the mask are there. You, Doctor, you hear luggage moving down the hallway. Perhaps a small, perhaps a hotel boy is still learning his trade. A quick look out the door reveals it is in fact Miss Lane with a large trunk behind her.
Oh, you got things resolved. Very good, Miss Lane. Turns around and goes back into his room.
I would also have put, to be fair, I would have put any books in there that were not a language I could read, but I don't know what those languages are. So
There are a couple that are written in English. Yeah.
okay.
You return to your own quarters, I imagine, Miss Lane, with said trunk.
I do. I struggle to get the door open.
It's not
and
that heavy.
It's
It's-
just drag it.
yes,
No, it's probably just bulky. Like the trunk is bulky. Are the guns in the trunk still, or do you have those?
The Tommy gun's in the trunk. I didn't take any of the
Oh,
weapons
there's
out.
only one
So
gun?
for
Okay.
clarity purposes, there are only so many guns that can fit in a trunk, okay? It's not a bag of holding, for Christ's
Well,
sake.
I was wondering where my
I paid
my
a lot
gun
of money
is.
for that trunk.
You did, but not,
That would
not,
be a
not,
bag
for,
of holding.
not for the magical effect.
Remember,
We put them all in there when we got to
right?
You broke
put
them. You broke them down
and put
yes.
them in his duffel bag so he still has them.
Oh, Sam still has them?
Well, Sam has his own pieces as well, and Jack's rifle never came with him overseas.
But I have Forsyth rifle.
Yeah, you have his rifle, so his rifle would be in there, broken down, stock and all. So it would take literally 10 minutes to put the fucking thing together. And you have the Thompson, which is taken apart. So you have two contraband weapons in the bottom of the trunk. That said, the Thompson gives it some definite weight, so you are dragging it.
I bring it into the room. Maeve, here's your trunk. I don't know if everything's in it, but he wouldn't let me pass into the room, so I apologize if there's nothing, if you're missing things.
Look, at this point, if he wants to read something and he harms himself, I don't care.
I'm more worried about if he does that and somebody else gets hurt.
I think that's already been established that might happen.
That can happen to any one of us, and that's why I'm not opening your trunk.
I'll just pull it further into the room and open it and get some clothes.
So clearly, there are objects missing.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly your things have been gone through fairly thoroughly. I would likely say, and I'm not going to put actions in Sam's mouth or hands, but I would likely say, unless you'd like to correct me, I'm sure that things were put back in a reasonable fashion.
Well, they were meticulously put away.
Right. That's kind
It's
of
probably,
his MO.
it's probably better
Right.
organized than it was when
Right.
she sent it to me.
What makes her more upset is when she opens it and sees her letter, her father's journal, all that stuff, the personal stuff.
Yeah.
When he said he had no desire for things that were mine,
Right.
those were mine.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear that he's gone through your father's journal. It's likely he's read your mother's letters. It's likely he's read the letter Christopher wrote you.
All that stuff's on top.
I'm just standing there like with it open, shaking my head.
What's wrong?
He read all of my letters. I'm assuming because they're all here. Right here on top. Not where I had them. All my father's stuff. All the stuff about my mother. My letters from Chris.
What does he gain from doing that?
I don't know what his game is. But if it is to hurt me,
I don't think it's a personal thing.
really? You don't? Has he cornered you all by yourself?
No.
And accused you of things?
I know. I don't know the conversation that you two had other than he took your trunk. That's all Jack told me.
Here's the thing, is even if I could verbatim give you a script of the conversation we had, both of us are going to have varying views.
Of course.
So what I'm going to tell you is trust who you trust and believe who you believe, because I cannot make you. And I am so hurt and so upset.
He had no right to take your things or your books.
I was treated like a criminal. I have not done anything to deserve this.
I don't know why he's so untrusting. Well, obviously I don't know anything about him because he went from being one person to another.
And that was my point.
And if I had done that, I can only imagine what he would think of me or you would think of me. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to believe that he's doing something for the good of something, but
To be fair, I think he took advantage of the situation because I am a woman. I think that if it was Jack or anybody else, he wouldn't dare.
Right. Well, you do have to understand, as a woman, we are lower on the totem pole.
But it doesn't mean we are weak.
I am fully on your side.
I'm gonna go change. I can tell you, just by looking in here, there are things missing, but I would have to do a full inventory to figure out what they are. Considering the books I do see, I'm assuming he doesn't read multiple languages. So
It is rather meticulously organized. Although that's not your style in this way, seeing what is missing is fairly straightforward enough.
right, like I'm saying, like seeing those, like the things that are in there, I'm like, okay, well that's in this language, and aside from French and English,
You know for a fact he reads French.
Yes.
But he never got a chance to get a hold of the Book of Iban, so at least not yet.
nope.
So there is that. But
considering the Noctic scripts are in there, because he said anything that he couldn't read, and then I'm assuming the hieroglyphics, and then there was something in Arabic, because I have something written that was in Arabic.
it's probably a scroll from the Miser house.
I would have kept the Arabic thing.
Okay, so
Oh,
the
okay.
Arabic, so that's not there then.
I'm gonna go talk to Jack and let him know I got the got the trunk back, at least in some part. Do you want to catalog or try to catalog what you're missing so we can make sure we get that back?
Yeah, I'll get dressed and I'll pull the books out and see what I can find.
Miss Lane, you'd also know that you would need to contact the office of the Orient Express and make sure
Right.
that they can prepare a spot for you on the train tonight.
I'm going to go talk to Jack first, and then I'm going to go downstairs and call the Orient Express.
Understood. Jack is luckily not too far away, simply across the hall. Jack, you've gone to the chair after the doctor gave you his medicinal recommendation for the day, which, half an hour later has certainly loosened up some of the muscles and has promoted healing, clearly.
Obviously.
Is it alcohol?
It's always alcohol.
To this mix, as it were, one Lillian Lane is added in.
Is Doctor in there too, I'm assuming?
Clearly.
Currently packing away his things.
Playing German opera.
Yep, and German opera, probably humming a German opera or playing it on a phonograph.
Hi, Doctor.
Guten Morgen.
I look over for... look over for Jack, and he's not in the bed. But I'm assuming I can spot you over on the couch or chair.
Chair, yeah.
How are you feeling, Jack?
Better.
Good.
Empty glass, pack of cigarettes,
I just
gun laying on the table.
I roll my eyes a little bit at the cigarette and alcohol. I can see that the doctor has given you his prescription.
It is working wonders.
Oh, well, so glad. I wanted to let you know I went and had a conversation with Sam. I got the trunk back. Apparently, it took a woman's touch and not threatening his life.
You have your ways, I have mine.
I wasn't nice about it by any means. He did not give everything back, though. He does have several of Maeve's books still. We're not sure which ones. She's going to catalog that before we get on the Orient Express. Hopefully we can get those back sooner rather than later, because he really shouldn't be reading those.
No.
I did explain to him that we are a team. This isn't a him by himself and the rest of us. We should be working together. And no one person should be treating another person that way on our team.
Right. If he has problems, he needs to bring it up to all of us, and we can deal with it as a group.
Right. And Maeve is young. Not that she can't handle herself. She can actually absolutely handle herself. So anyway, I just wanted to come and let you know about that. I'm going to go make our reservations for the Orient Express and try to get us a couple private cars done, because you will still need your rest. It's only a several hour ride from here to our next location, but it's overnight, so you should probably continue resting.
I'm just suggesting we use somebody else's name.
We did do it under my name, so I'm gonna have to give her my name anyways. But this time, let's try to keep ourselves out of trouble. I mean, you get that big hole in your chest now, so
Right.
you're really not gonna be, punching police officers. Right. Okay, good.
I have to shoot him.
You were going to go alert the Orient Express that you are going to be boarding this evening.
Are you going downstairs?
I am. Do you need something?
Could you get me a postcard from Paris?
Sure.
Thank you.
I can do that.
So you alert the train service via phone at the hotel desk. You gather the postcard.
I do.
For
from
Jack.
the gift shop or wherever. Yep.
And then I guess my question for the group is, there's likely a conversation that needs to happen before the voyage continues. Do you want to have that now or on the train?
I think we should have it on the train.
Okay.
Because I don't think anybody's in the right frame of mind to be having this conversation.
And people can't run away.
No, you
Somebody
can
might get pushed off the
cause a
train.
whole bunch of hijinks on the train. So, that being said, then the final coda that I would have is anyone doing other than what has been done already today? And I know Sam is doing research and cataloging. With knowing that the group is going to be leaving on the Orient Express that evening from Paris Station, Sam, are you going to go with them when they leave?
Sure. Yeah. If they don't stop me, if they send the doctor to come talk to me or whatever and get me along, then yeah, if anything, when I emerge from the room, I probably resemble like a kicked puppy.
I did give Lillian a list of what
Yeah.
I could recall was missing, because I know, I don't know the names of the 3 random books I picked out of the Miser house.
Yeah. Yep.
And, things like that.
I know one of them.
But I do know, like, the Arabic book and Life is a God, because those are books that I've actually
Yeah, you read them.
put eyes in.
Yep.
Like, I go so far as to almost kind of sheepishly cower from Jack. I won't meet Maeve's eyes. Like, I probably fall in lockstep near or like flanking the doctor, so I'm probably keeping like 3/4 of my normal pace.
I think that's all probably fairly evident to everybody, especially you, Doctor, would pick up on Sam's cues pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
I would like to invoke my Master of Disguise.
Yeah.
If I can. Thank you.
So that being said, as a pulp talent, I get that your initial blush reaction might be that you don't believe it. It is exceedingly believable.
Well, for me, trauma's been done.
Sure. No, you might be a little different, Miss O'Shea, because you've had direct trauma done by that person. He does appear reserved. He does act in accordance with directives, especially from the doctor. He doesn't visually confront anybody.
Did he keep those books then?
I would assume so. He
Okay.
didn't leave them in the room. He appears contrite.
Right, but in my mind, if he was really contrite, that the chest would have been returned right away.
I get that. I'm just saying systematically.
I'm just saying in my mind, he might look like he's contrite, but in my mind, I don't buy it.
Coming up against the Master of Disguise, that's very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he totally looks contrite, and if I didn't know better, I would totally buy it. But his actions spoke louder than his words right now, as it were.
If it's enough to cast doubt in their mind.
Yeah, like, hey, maybe he is contrite, but he didn't return that chest right away, and that tells me that he isn't as whipped as he's trying to make it seem.
Slight caveat I would put on that is that you don't know the extent of the ear chewing that he got from Miss Lane, and so it's altogether possible that Jack might say, okay, Lillian went and rang him a new one and came out with the chest. Obviously, it's not all, that it's not all
right.
Complete back. He is showing all of those historical signs of somebody who has been chastised and is feeling the after effects of it, right? So like part of the systematic portion of it for me is that he has a direct pulp talent that lets him do this, that makes him really effective at it.
Right. That being said, we also know that he is an exceptional actor.
You do.
Right.
And so I don't want to
I'm not saying that, oh yeah, he's totally
Right.
he's totally screwing around and he's not true, but there is at least some doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I doubt I'm happy to do.
I would like to move to say that this much like doubt and suspicion was not at all addressed of like the counter story. I'm just saying there was not even a moment in which there were dispersions cast that she might not be telling the whole truth. Just saying.
They've also been with me a lot longer.
Systematically, you're not as good a liar as I am. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you're
sure.
and Alex is completely right. Sam is an excellent in this vein. He is an excellent liar, and so that's what I'm trying to get across to the group as a whole is that as your perception of if you join him on the platform or the walk to the platform or through the cab, he, for all intents and purposes, looks as if he has been chastised by literally everyone, and he's hanging close to the doctor, likely because he feels safe or he needs the emotional or support.
That I 100%, to me, I'm like, good, fucking deserve it. And I'm not trying to play off like Maeve is a better liar. She's
not.
Also, you also got to understand a bond and a closeness that would make somebody lean more her.
Sure, I know, but we're going to run up against like the skill portion of it, right? It's a game, and so you might, and maybe that's what it is too, Jack. Maybe you do know that he's an effective liar, and so it is hard to know whether or not he's lying, or maybe he actually does feel terrible about it, and he's trying to figure out a way to apologize.
Hey, maybe that's true.
So the group itself collects together at that Paris station late at night. There are many, many different type of people that board this train headed to Lausanne. So all shapes, sizes from many different countries. I would like you all to make a spot hidden roll.
So just FYI, I am definitely keeping an eye out for police, Try to keep us away from police.
Understood.
26 out of 75.
Mm-hmm. Hard success.
98 over 80.
So,
I see nothing.
9,399.
66 out of 88.
Okay, so both Sam and Maeve likely eyeball two different parties. Sam, to your left, probably halfway down the station, there are two gentlemen who look like they are looking at one another. And there is something of a seriousness that is between them that can only be described as a deep and hostile rivalry. You are not certain who these men are, but they are boarding the train at the same time and through separate doors. And they seethe at one another. And it isn't that you've never seen men get mad and seethe at one another. It is that you can tell the look of someone who is cold and calculating and prepared to kill because you've seen it in the mirror.
So these two people are getting on this train and only one of them is going to get off, is what you're telling me.
That is very, very likely.
I poke the doctor, like right in the back of the hip.
I wanted, yeah?
Doctor, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there are murderous bastards boarding the train that are not us.
Oh, I assumed you were talking about us. I'm glad you added that last part. Well, which ones?
I point them out with my fingers.
You see two gentlemen board the train. They look Eastern European. One might be German. The other one is definitely from his haircut and likely from his posture and dress. He is likely from Russia.
I think I see what is going on here. Well, on the surface anyway. But it will be fascinating, yeah? You should get to your room.
And Miss O'Shea, for your part, to the right down the platform, there's a group of women boarding the train together. There's 3 of them. One is a rather elegant older woman, and the other 2 that are behind her seem to be servants of some sort. But it's her dress and her kind of air that give you pause. She appears to be bedecked in a very light black dress with this beautiful lace over it. And interwoven into the lace, you can see tiny spider webs, like that type of style. And she has a lot of very strange, almost Victorian-style jewelry, way out of style. And she reminds you of, it almost looks like you in 30 years. Not completely visually, but she looks like, somebody who might make sure that you don't get the evil eye cast on you. She looks more like a medium or somebody who reads tarot cards. You get that feeling.
Well, if she looks my way, I'll just nod to her.
She does eventually, as she's getting ready to board the train. She gives you a very pleasant smile and seems to acknowledge not just you, but acknowledge like your presence. And the younger women that are with her help her with several suitcases. And the group boards the Orient Express and leaves on a very, very late night voyage to Lausanne. And so that is where I will call our episode to a close. Thank you so much for joining us again. We look forward to entertaining you in the very near future, as next week we'll pick up with what is likely going to be a fantastic train ride.